So, good morning, good evening, or good night, ladies and gentlemen, from wherever you are watching. I am delighted that I am speaking with the beautiful Jane Dean, living in the most gorgeous place, I think, on this earth, Los Gigantes, a place very, very dear to my heart. And I met this beautiful lady when over there. And they always say that sometimes you don't remember what people say, but you remember the feeling that they left you with. And from a short conversation with Jane, I have always remembered her story and her journey. So in this first part of the woman's journey, no better lady to introduce than Jane Dean. Jane, you are most welcome, and thank you so much for this wonderful interview.
Thank you so much for asking me. It's really, I feel very honoured, and also, can I say, very humbled. You had such an impression on me. I have lots of clients coming into my salon. I'm not a hairdresser, I'm a beautician. And very few really sort of leave a lasting imprint. And you definitely did. And it was really quite strange, the effect that you had on me. And it was a short but very nice conversation. And I very rarely open up to people and tell them about me, but you have this incredible power within you, and watching you I can see that you're obviously really helping a lot of people.
Well, thank you so much. But as we always say, as what you see in me is within you, and vice versa, and that's how we all connect, is through energy and through that openness of sharing. So there's a lot I am quite sure that I do not know about Jane, but what I do know is that she has created and made her dream a reality. Now, many of us, and I know us ladies, we like to sit and imagine. Oh, imagine living out in a country where there's 365 days of sun. Imagine having a house over there. Imagine having, and we imagine all these things, but at anything in life, what we tend to do, we need a lot of safety nets in place. We would need the job, we would need the money, we would need the house, all the security before we would take any step forward in life to risk anything. But this is why I have Jane here, because Jane did not have any of those things in place. She did not have money, she did not have the job, she had literally nothing. But it is not to say she didn't come from nothing, because she was a very successful business lady in England. So Jane, I am going to hand it over to you now. Could you share with us, please, from being a successful lady in England, and when I say the word success, as in the business term what people would look upon it, it's not necessarily what we own. Success is many, many things. And I think peace within us is the hugest success that we can ever achieve in life. But can you take us on the journey with you from briefly what took place from England to that journey to Tenerife?
Okay, yes, I can. Again, that word success is a very strange word, because I no longer think of success as having a lot of money in the bank. I used to. And that's where I was in the UK. Very, very quickly, I started off nursing. My children were very young, so I couldn't really do the sociable hours. So I opened a restaurant where I lived above the restaurant. I then did beauty treatments at night school. I opened another restaurant. I went into film and TV catering. I was extremely entrepreneurial. Nothing was enough. And in some ways, I was searching for massive financial gain. I don't think like that anymore. I reached a point where I had all the material things in life, but I was working all the time. My marriage failed, or several marriages failed, but I'm not going to go into those details because I'm not very good at being married. And I was very much alone, but had the support of my daughters. Anyway, to cut a long story short, I definitely overcapitalized. I expanded far too much and far too quickly, and ended up with losing everything. It took 2 years. It was the VAT that demanded a massive amount of money. I was extremely well thought of in business and should not have failed. But it was at a particular time, and I can't remember the exact year, when the banks no longer were supportive to you and there was a massive recession. So I had my home taken away, I had my business taken away, I had my beautiful sports cars taken away, I had my location film catering wagons taken away, and also an awful lot of the people who I thought were my friends suddenly disappeared and went into a different aisle in the supermarket when they saw me coming. It was a particularly horrible experience, but I am a survivor, and the only way I could think of surviving it was to accept what had happened to me and look for a new life. My father had just died. My third husband, who was a serial adulterer, had just run away. And I had the opportunity to run away myself. I use the word run away very lightly because both of my daughters by then were married with a child. And when I say they didn't need me anymore, I probably was completely wrong, because they will always need me. I went to Gran Canaria with nothing, absolutely nothing. And I think I had, when I say nothing, I had maybe £200. That was all I had. And I worked in a bar belonging to a friend of mine, and I worked all day and all night, but I partied and I had fun. And it was my first time of actual freedom and having fun for a lot of years. I sort of got my act together. I moved over to Tenerife, and in Tenerife, I started off trying to get work. It was very difficult because I didn't know anybody. And I remember driving over the mountain, because I lived in the Spanish part of Tenerife, in a rickety old car that somebody had given to me, and driving into Los Gigantes, which is the most beautiful part of Tenerife, and you know it, Evelyn, and going into a bar, well, actually a very smart restaurant, to say, you know, have you got any work? I didn't even think about going into the beauty business because there were really no beauticians around here. So I didn't even think about that. And I went in and I said, right, 1, 2, 3, ask, do you want any work? And I completely clammed up and said, could I have the bill, please, for my cup of coffee? I then was counting out my pesetas. It wasn't euros then, and I didn't have enough pesetas. And I said, oh, I'm sorry, I have to go to the cash point. I'm 2 pesetas short. Oh, don't worry about 2 pesetas. That's fine. I thought, thank goodness, because I didn't have any. And driving home over the mountains, I actually ran out of petrol in the middle of nowhere, because Los Gigantes is on one side of the island, and where I lived in a little Spanish village is the other side. And I was literally miles from anywhere, and I abandoned the car and found a little hut of a house, knocked on the door and burst into tears. And the lovely people helped me. And people in the mountains always have petrol in cans because they have rickety old tractor things that they dig the ground with. So he walked all the way back to the car and poured the petrol in my car, and I went back to where I was living. I then went over every single day with no money and just a sandwich in my pocket looking for work, and ended up working in a timeshare resort. I hated it because I don't agree with it at all. So I was extremely bad at it, and decided I couldn't possibly do that. And I then started working. I did manage to get work because I got to know people, working in a bar, doing the cooking because I'm very good. I'm a very good chef. And I also advertised that I could do home visits for pedicures, manicures, facials. I had one machine that I'd managed to bring with me. Slowly but surely, to cut a little bit of a long, boring story short, I probably worked all day and all night. I did homemade pies, food for your freezers. I cooked it in El Tanque, which is in the middle of the mountains, delivered it to people, wrote a menu of what people could have. And I also was the bookie in a local bar. I learned how to do the betting on the horses. And at the night time, I worked in the restaurant doing all the cooking. Then an opportunity occurred, and the actual landlord who owned the property came to me and said, would you take it over? And I said, well, I have no money, but I have the experience, and of course I will. And that was the beginning of becoming successful. And as soon as I managed to make some money, I found a premises to open a beauty salon, and started off in the beauty salon. And that was 7.5 years ago. I left the restaurant. My friend now runs it because I couldn't do both. And I have been in the beauty salon since. I now live in a beautiful apartment. I'm 71 and I still work all the time. It's very difficult with the lockdown situation and there aren't many tourists here, but you still have to be positive. I then went to pick up one of my clients who can't walk very well. She's 82, and I drove her around to the salon, and she said, oh, Jane, she said, I feel so upset. I don't feel like I can carry on anymore. Now, this lady is a multimillionaire, and the reason she felt like she couldn't carry on anymore, her husband has just been diagnosed with vascular dementia. And she's watched an extremely clever, successful man going down and down and down. She can't cope. So as I speak to you now, she is having her hair done. When I finish talking to you, I'm going to pick her up and take her home and sit down and talk to her and try to help her, because she needs to, you can't say, don't feel like that. You shouldn't feel like that. You've got to say, you are right to feel like that. It's a very sad situation. You've got to say, just take each moment at a time, and I'll come and I'll sit and talk to you, and I'll do anything you want me to do until you feel better and understand. I said, because he's still your husband, he still loves you, and he's still a gorgeous man. So she said, oh, I can't wait. She said, and we'll have a glass of champagne. So there's always some good things to think of. There are a lot of very sad, very lonely people here. So just because the sun's shining and it's beautiful weather doesn't mean that people don't have the same sadness and traumas and depression in their life that you do in Manchester or Dublin or London or anywhere. It's exactly the same. Should I just show you the view and then you might realise?
Go ahead.
Right. Okay. Just look at that from my terrace.
Can I see my babies? Hello, girls. And this is why I see it. I see Tipsy's.
Yeah, Tipsy's is still closed. Yeah.
And I see the girls. I always say, I'll see you soon, girls. I'll see you soon.
Yes, you are coming soon, aren't you, Evelyn?
I am coming soon. And, you know, one of my future things too, Jane, is that I would like to live over there for a certain time of a year. You know, why not? If I'm writing a book, why not go to Tenerife? Why not be at home? No matter where you live, you can always have the feelings to never think by living at some road, it's going to bring you something when we reach to the outside. So in creating that for myself at the minute, I experience today, you know, because if I'm waiting on Tenerife to bring me feelings, that's not the way it works. We have to be it, and no matter where we're at. But that was a huge, big journey you have came from, and you actually surprised me when you told me your age. I was like, what? That was well, that's fantastic. You're a very, very fresh woman, and that's because you've life in you. But Jane, there's another part of you too. Now that, how long are you living now in the Canaries or in Tenerife?
I've been in the Canary Islands for 21 years.
You have a huge heart. You're heavily involved with charity, I believe.
I am, yes, and especially during our lockdown period, there are two charities that I work with. One is Amigos of Gillian Banks, where we look after children who come from very, very, very bad backgrounds. And they have no clothes, no money, no nothing. They are picked up in the morning, they're brought to a centre, they're given their breakfast, they're given a shower, a change of clothes, they're looked after all day and taken home in the evening. They have nothing. Now, through the lockdown, they weren't even allowed to come to the centre. So what we did was, and I did quite a bit of fundraising for this by speaking to people on Facebook. We raised money and we fed 71 families.
Wow.
I personally here cooked food at home and distributed it. Would you believe, in Los Gigantes, in the outskirts, there are a lot of people with very little money. And some people slip through that. They're not entitled to claim anything from the government because they're not really official workers. They might be cleaning for somebody and they give them black money. Those people had nothing, absolutely nothing. And at first they were very proud, but then they became like friends. And I also fed the homeless. I had to hide from the police and dodging, hiding behind
hopefully
cars.
hopefully the police will not watch this now.
well, you know, in the end, they knew me and they just used to wave, because we had a very serious lockdown here. And after 6 o'clock at night, when the supermarkets closed, they closed early. There wasn't a soul anywhere except me. And I'm going out feeding cat colonies and homeless men. And who have dogs. Everybody has a story, and you can't discount them just because they're in that situation. Now it's quite difficult. I've just seen one of them down the road. I don't have much money now myself because we're taking nothing, but I did give him €10. So
well, I'm glad, Jane, that you mentioned that charity with the children. I would love to be in a financial position someday to, what I believe, to take families out on holidays that have never experienced that. But now you have mentioned this wonderful charity out there, and I was like, well, there you go. I would know exactly what I would do when I am there. I could cry now that this is maybe the reason why this interview has took place as well.
It's so heartwarming to see those children in situations that they would never be in. And the lovely girls from Tipsy Terrace actually did a Christmas for them, where Father Christmas came and gave them presents. They all came on a coach. They were only allowed to stay for 2 hours. It's all very protected. We take them to swimming lessons. Some of them, would you believe, even though we live on an island, had never seen the sea. They live up in the mountains. We've now just taken on an orphanage as well. There are only 9 children in the orphanage, but they don't get an awful lot of help from the government. For example, they had horrible, really scruffy sheets on their beds that all didn't match, and some with holes in. They were clean, you know, so we bought all new sheets and towels, clothes for the children. We're now taking them up. There is an animal sanctuary run by a very close friend of mine, because I'm very much an animal person and I help the dogs as well. We have 75 dogs in the dog shelter and 100 animals in the sanctuary. We've built an area there for the children, and it's really quite beautiful. They can come in and they have all their own little drawers where they have their own writing paper and pens. And what they do is they have their little jobs to do with the animals, like they clean them, they feed them, they brush them, they collect the eggs from the hens, all things that they don't really know about. They also got a plot of land where they grow vegetables. Now, you're talking about these children coming from families in the mountains where animals are tied up to guard maybe an entrance to a cave where they live. Their family have no understanding of caring for animals or growing vegetables or anything. They're ex-drug addicts and all sorts of horrible situations. So these children are getting a totally new perspective on life, and it's wonderful. And to me, the wonderful thing is them being gentle and learning how to look after the lesser things in life. And I love it.
Oh, Jane,
Yeah.
oh my God. Now, our first meeting, when I first met you, the feeling you have left me with, I'll never forget this interview. I'll not forget that. To think in this day and age, as you say, people are living in cages, or caves, sorry, not cages.
Caves. Yeah, they are in caves.
In caves, and holiday brochures we don't see this, and we don't know about this. Is there any way, if somebody wanted to throw in a few pounds or contribute or help out with this, is there a link or anything that?
Yes, there is. There is. You go on to Amigos, as in the word amigos, Spanish, DE, which is of Gillian Banks.
Anybody would like to contribute to that? Oh my God, what a cause!
This lady is a saint, and I have. There are coffee mornings here, and they are wonderful. All put money in every time they go to the coffee morning. And once a month, they give me the envelope, and I take the envelope to the charity. And then we do fundraisers as well, and raise a lot of money, actually. Nothing is taken by the organisers, nothing. All the money goes to the children. It's amazing.
Fantastic. Well, I am guessing that with even out asking this question, but ¿cómo es tu español?
Sí.
It must be in order to speak with the los niños.
Yeah, I what we have to do is we have to habla inglés con los niños, because necesito aprender inglés. So
okay.
we say, we point to something, and then we teach them songs. They do the rainbow song, red and yellow and pink and blue, in
perfecto.
English. And if anybody wants to go to the centre, like when you come, I can take you, but it has to be arranged. Because like I said before, so you speak Spanish, do you?
Un poco español.
Poco.
So, yeah, un poco.
Yeah, well,
so, but I comprende what you say. I understood what you said there,
Spanish
which is
lovely.
lovely.
Absolutely terrible, because I can speak German and I can speak French because I learnt them at school, but I never learnt the grammar of Spanish.
Jane, you've had a very adventurous life. There's about 10 books in you to get writing, and so. Apart from that, and you've grew your community around you, and you've got involved with the community as well as the business that you have there as well. And we're going to give it a wee shout out for anybody that is in Los Gigantes. Do pop in and go in and get your nails done. I wish I was with you now, but I'm going somewhere else tomorrow. But get your nails, get your hair, get your massages done. Jane, what's the name of your business there in Los Gigantes?
Beauty Within.
Beauty Within. And have a conversation with this beautiful lady. Jane, I want to ask you too, you had a family probably with your daughters, or there was a journey through alcoholism.
Yes, I have 2 daughters and 5 grandchildren, and they are very, very beautiful, special people. Samantha, my eldest daughter, unfortunately became addicted to alcohol and went through a terrible time. It was probably 7 years ago. I was actually going to leave here and go back to look after her. I literally had to drag her to an AA meeting, and my son-in-law did it when I had to come back. She has gone through an incredible journey, and now she helps other people. And one of the main things is the waking up in the morning. And I listened to you the other day, and you were talking about waking up in the morning and beautiful feelings of just going out and walking. And and saying hello to somebody down the road and the sun shining and things. I used to say to her, oh, for goodness sake, Samantha, get a life, because she writes all these things like, wake up this morning, Mum, and it was wonderful to feel well, to feel alive, to be happy. And, you know, I'm saying, oh, shut up. You know? Oh, don't talk all that rubbish. But it's true. She wakes up every morning with a purpose in her life. She has now managed to move. She moved this weekend, and on the same day that she was moving house, or should have been moving house, she drove all the way to Cornwall from Cheshire and back, because her daughter, my granddaughter, was passing out into the Royal Navy. She's only 17, so it was a very proud moment. And I was speaking to Samantha on the phone, and I was talking about you, and I think she has a life you want.
Yeah, I'm not too sure if these are back to front at the minute, so
no, it's on the left-hand side.
Yes, yeah. A life you want.
Yeah, she's very. She likes you a lot, and yeah, she's really, really, really struggled, and now. She used to look like a 60-year-old woman. Now she looks like a beautiful 40-year-old woman. She's actually 50. Her journey has been hard, has been extremely stressful. She has gone through a lot of trauma, and now she's fantastic. And Rosie is, her eldest daughter has graduated from university, and Rosie has now gone into the Royal Navy. So everything is working out for her.
So what I take from this conversation, words that you have mentioned, is acceptance on any situation.
Yes.
Gratitude, because I detect gratitude when we're speaking there too. Charitable, to have a giving heart, for it is in giving that we receive, and it's not that we give to receive, but it is in giving that we receive. That is the love. That is the divine nature. If you give out the love, let it come back. Allow everything to come back.
That's exactly what I agree with. What you receive is an energy. Yes, you're right.
The determination, the belief, the trust, the faith that you had in yourself, because when everything is gone, everything, all the trappings, all the finery, all the money, as you say, you figure out who your real friends are. And sometimes you have to go through that experience, share the journey by yourself, and take chances and step into the fear and step beyond that. You're an amazing woman.
If you don't step into the fear, if you are waiting for other people to help you, or waiting for somebody to take that step for you, it will never happen. You have to grab life and go for it. And everything I've done with no money behind me. And there are ways of getting what you want. My next project is to hopefully get some land in El Hierro and to build log cabins and have a little bit of an animal sanctuary and log cabins where people can come for a retreat.
Who is it that I hear talks about retreats in Tenerife?
I know, yes, you. It's that's my next step. So watch this space.
Perfecto. I am delighted. Build it and they will come. Jane, I'm going to say thank you so much for your time today. Muchas gracias para tu tiempo. Disfruta tu día.
Oh, you've learned.
Come, you see? Oh, I do know that.
You're a very beautiful person, Evelyn. And when I listen to your ladies talking, what you've done for them is incredible.
And they've done it themselves. All I believe, like anything, I'm here to walk with people, and people are here to walk with me, however long our paths should cross. So our paths crossed. Yes, and this is wonderful. So every time I come back to Gigantes now, I know I can go, hola, señorita, hola, señora.
No, don't talk to me in Spanish.
No, Espanol, I say good. Well, my my daughter keeps saying that all the time. Stop speaking in Spanish.
Yeah.
What I'll do now, Jane, I'm just going to say thank you so much for your time today, for
Thank
giving us
you
your time.
for
This is
thinking
part
of
of
me.
the woman's journey, part 1.
Thank
Bye,
you,
Jane.
Evelyn. Gorgeous lady. See you soon.